It's go time. It's 4 o'clock-ish on a Friday afternoon. You're all looking forward to the weekend, and I'm joined by one of our favorite guests, Mr. Kristian the Viking Byfield. But this time, he's brought along a guest of his own, and that is none other than Adam from PropCo. How are you doing?
I'm all right, David. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. All I've been told is that there's some exciting news afoot. Kristian, fill in that blank for me.
Yeah, so we're very excited to announce today our first CRM integration with PropCo, one of the leading CRMs in the system. Adam, I think I'm right in saying you guys account for something like nearly 17% of agent managed entities within the PRS go through your system.
That's it. Our tech basically handles big portfolios, and we are very lucky to be heading towards that 20% of market transactions being handled. We do everything, as you know, Kristian. We go all the way from initial instruction, listing, rent agreements, contracting, transaction, property management, client accounting, and of course with you now enhanced end of tenancy experience and managing the data, big numbers, with £3 billion worth of transactions reconciled every year, down to the penny, huge amounts of automation, massive scale, really good stuff for the industry.
Yeah, and I think for us, every agent, I think every tech supplier that presents to an agent, if the agent doesn't open with the question, "Are you integrated into our CRM?" it definitely comes somewhere between the start of the pitch and the end of the pitch. And I think like most tech businesses launching out there, obviously, we always had an aspiration and an intention to integrate into the CRM landscape, but it takes time. You have to mature the product and get proof of concept.
It does take time. Just because it's easy for people to say, yeah, we integrate and we talk about open AI, APs and all this sort of stuff, but what is the time scale really? I mean, a lot of development goes into this, doesn't it?
So the development of something like this, so yeah, I mean, integrations is a very broad term, depending on what a product does.
Right.
We touch quite a lot of data points in that sort of tenancy conclusion process. So, I mean, to put it in context, this has been about a 6-month project from us, in terms of working out the spec and then working through that with PropCo to establish something that was going to work, and then obviously building it, testing it, and deploying it. We deployed about 4 or 5 weeks ago. We deployed with a client, and obviously there's been a little bit of refining and fine tuning over that, little bit of fixes here and there, and etc. But yeah, I mean, we've built a very, very comprehensive system. So I mean, we really have as many interactions throughout the journey as we can. So I think the obvious one, I think when an agent talks to us and goes, "Are you integrated?" I think primarily what they talk about with us is, are we capturing the landlord tenancy and property data? And yes, absolutely, that is what we are now capturing from PropCo, but that is really just
it's table stakes, isn't it? I mean, when people talk about an integration, a CRM integration, from an agent perspective, that is, we already store this information that you say you need. Can't you just get it from our system where it's already in place? But that's really, from a technology point of view, that's table stakes. If you're not able to transact that basic information, then really you're not really doing anything together. Yeah, you can drop a button and say go to the other app, but that's not an integration. And we all know it isn't. But the key is to do something more, right? The key is to actually enable more to happen and make it more transparent. You want people, your clients, we've got mutual clients as a result of an integration, and you want those clients to have a great experience. You want to improve their experience of managing the information, and also their customers' experience has got to be made better. And that's why you go deeper with an integration. But look, to set it in context, like TBL, Technology Blueprints, the company that makes PropCo, we do integrations, we do software projects all the time. 6 months is a great timetable for an integration, bearing in mind this is the timetable from yes, let's do it, to yes, it's done. And as Kristian said, 6 weeks out of that 6 months is spent making sure that what's actually live with the customer is really delivering value. And easily 6 to 8 weeks at the front was spent talking about what that might look like at the end. What made this one really work is, of course, with our system, we're ready with a very big API surface that we can use to integrate with others. So we've got APIs. Kristian and the Depositary had APIs. So it was about making sure that what we're lining up is a great journey of the data to deliver a great experience.
It sounds easy when you say it like that. You've got a forward-thinking supplier like Kristian, who clearly the goal will be to get to the stage where there's as many meaningful integrations as possible. And from your perspective, your clients can come along, know that they don't have to get involved in duplicate data entry and the mistakes. Let's face it, the mistakes that happen on that journey when you have to come in and out of two different systems, inevitably, it compromises the quality of the data sometimes.
It does, and you've got to have two things. I think with any good integration, and this I really have to say, like I'm here today, this is a decent integration that we've done. I think Kristian's been interesting right from when we first met. We met at a PropTech event, the PropTech event with a queue that used to run. We met years ago, and he was sitting there with someone from TDS working out what this service would look like, working out what the value. The great thing about Kristian is, because he comes from the industry, he really knows what the value proposition needs to be. He understands the problem that he wants to solve, and then has tried to build and has ultimately delivered the solution for that. But it's more than just dealing with the double keying, which is a massive burden, right? Nobody wants to put their business exposed to the risk, particularly with things like deposit return, that somebody's slip of a key could lead to a problem in that return. But getting the information moving between the systems is nice, and reducing double keying is nice. But you don't do an integration for a customer just to make it a little bit easier. You want to deliver something fresh, right, to the journey. And that's what we really liked about the Depositary and what Kristian built. On PropCo, you can already do end of tenancy, right? There's a way to get this done. But what Kristian has surfaced was that way that beyond the relationship that might be formal that the agent is managing, people are still working on the Depositary platform, right? They've got a sense of where they are at in the deposit return process. He's giving something not just to the agent with an agent system that then we've integrated and plugged in, but actually to the agent's customers. And that, for me, is the thing that made it really interesting and exciting. This is about giving something to the people who are experiencing that end of tenant journey, the landlords and the tenants. They get something from this that they wouldn't otherwise have.
We always say that about for PropTech to truly sort of shine. It's great if it adds value for the agent, fantastic. But as you said earlier, that should be the basics of what you're looking for anyway.
Right.
But you want to take that one step further when it starts to deliver value for the end users, the people living in those homes, the people that are transacting, the landlords and the tenants. In Kristian's case, that's where the beautiful magic happens.
That's what it's about as well, David, isn't it? I mean, it's at the end of the day, and that's what we like for us about working with Kristian is we think that this technology space that we're in, with PropTech space, CRM agencies, we're all here to deliver service to people. We're doing it digitally. We're about transforming that, taking the opportunities that technology gives us digitally to make things better, right? To make those journeys better for people. And actually, if it's not going to make an improvement to people's lives, then why are we all doing it? I mean, you're not going to be able to monetize that, right? People aren't going to, fundamentally, agents want to deliver more value to their customers and generate more value for themselves by these technologies that they bring into their business. And if you're not actually giving people something better, then why are you doing it, right?
Adam, where have you been all my life? We need this. We need more of this.
We do this all day. We do this all day, David. I'll come on any time. You got to meet the rest of the team, but because we're like, truth be told, we just sit around all day building the best technology that we can, right, for agents, and really thinking about improving on the experience. Like I said, we're lucky. We've got big numbers of people being impacted by change. And so by working with Kristian, this is about saying, okay, that thing, I think you said it to me a couple of weeks ago, Kristian, right? We all know that deposit return is not the most glamorous thing that could happen in a property experience for anybody. But when it's not happy, when it's painful, like ask landlords and tenants, it's really painful, right? We all know that. So getting it right and improving that, literally its ability to touch and improve people's experience. And for agents, we're going to see, aren't we, Kristian? We're going to see.
Yeah, and I think the exciting thing working with you guys, is you've highlighted what your system got, and also the client that we worked with on this project. I think you know, we could have approached this from what's the bare minimum? What is the absolute minimum we could do? And like I said, we could have just done, look, just send us the pure text data of the key fields, property, landlord, and tenant, and that just removes that duplicated data entry, and then everything else can happen elsewhere. And that would have been quite easy to do. And let's just chalk it up. Let's just do something cheap and quick and move on. But I think very much the agent conversation and our attitude as well was, you know, how far can we push this? So yes, we capture that data, but we also pull in all the key documents. So we capture check-in and inventory reports. We capture tenancy agreements, and it's a two-way integration. So the client that we built this primarily for initially uses an insured deposit scheme. And we are very good at capturing forwarding addresses, which is something agents typically struggle with. And also we gather all a tenant's bank details in a secure manner. So we actually now funnel all that information back into PropCo. So that was fields that forwarding address is notoriously difficult for agents to collect. And we do that by collecting it with the bank details. So it helps us leverage that process. But yeah, we sit that all into PropCo. Now, along with that, what we've also done with the client is there are certain points where, given a certain set of circumstances, something needs to happen that isn't process driven within PropCo or our platform. And within PropCo, agents can create bespoke workflows for certain work.